Tennessee finds another get-back win. Now they're 2-1 in these rematches here in the regular season. Paige Dauer alongside Jimmy Hyams. A fantastic win for Tennessee. Its largest comeback here, especially inside SEC play. And if we had it, because there was so much that happened in the second half, if there was like a favorite stat or two of yours from this game to start, what would it be?
Well, a big part of it would be Tennessee's rebounding. I mean, the first half they got out-rebounded 21-10. In the second half, Tennessee out-rebounded Vanderbilt 20-10. So it was kind of reversal of fortune.
It is.
And the other one was the shooting percentage. Tennessee shot about 58% in the second half to Vanderbilt's 36%. It was almost the reverse of that in the first half. So the rebounding and the shooting percentages to me were huge for Tennessee's comeback win after being down 13 at halftime.
And I think my favorite stat, which might even lead to our first of our 3 takeaways following this dominant win, was Zakai Zeigler's 22 points that led all scorers for Tennessee. All came in the final half of this game, which is just incredible the way that he was able to turn it on. And part of that performance, of course, is what led Tennessee to roar back to a win.
It's important to make the right decisions, like when to go for it on 4th down, or when to kick the field goal or go for the touchdown. It's also important to make the right insurance decisions, too. That's why my office, Trey McAdams State Farm, is here to help you select the right protection at the right price. Our office will make sure you understand your State Farm coverages, so you'll know what to expect when the unexpected happens. With Trey McAdams State Farm, it's easy to make the right call. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Proud sponsor of the Tennessee Vols.
Zeigler was 0 for 2 in the first half shooting, at 4 assists. The second half, as you mentioned, 22 points. He had 8 assists. He scored on threes. He had 3 out of 4. He scored driving it to the basket. He scored at the foul line. He ignited this win. Without Zakai Zeigler, Tennessee doesn't win this game. And also we heard Rick Barnes say post-game Zeigler was the best point guard in the country. So once again, showing that Zeigler is that comfort blanket for the head coach.
Sure, yes, and we've heard the team say that so many times this season, but it's always more special when you hear your head coach call you the best point guard in the country. What I thought was really nice about Zakai's performance as well were those 8 assists came up huge. Probably my favorite assist, I think it was around the 11:39 mark of the second half, and he turns the ball over a little bit, but then he's scrambling on the ground for it, fighting off 2 Commodores. He recovers it, and while Igor Milicic is coming in for support, he actually sees Jemai Meshach loose and wide open, hands it to him. He takes advantage of an open lane and just throws it down for a layup. And I just thought the way that he was able to spread the floor with the way he was assisting tonight, 8 assists, leading the team in assists, was just so important.
It was, and he's such a floor general for Tennessee. The Meshach basket, that was big at that point. Meshach also hit 2 threes.
And they came from the corner, both of them. Tennessee only averages 3.
And he had only had 4 made threes in SEC play all season, and yet he had 2. And both of them were big shots. So the contributions that were made by others, including Meshach, were certainly important. But what Zakai Zeigler did today was all SEC caliber.
It absolutely was. And that kind of gets us to our second point, too, where we're looking for a little bit more on offense. Chaz Lanier was fantastic, especially in the first half. Jimmy, he had 13 points. That was better than 6 other game totals here in SEC play on his route to getting 20-plus points as well to join Zakai Zeigler in that number. That was also just the 4th time in SEC play he's had at least 20 points. So it was fantastic just to see him kind of come alive here, especially early in the game as well.
Yeah, and he hit a couple of threes in the game, and I also like the fact that he scored a couple of times going to the basket. I thought that was big. He needs to be able to develop that so that teams can't just press him on the outside without being worried about him driving to the basket. But the 20 points he had, important. Here's something else. He led the team in rebounding. He had 8 rebounds. I don't know how many times he's done that this year, but those rebounds.
5 of them came in the first half, or at least 4 of them,
Well, that was significant for Tennessee because, as we mentioned, they were dominated on the boards in the first half.
And we'll get to that in our third point, too, because what I really enjoyed watching with Zakai Zeigler, Chaz Lanier, was he was very decisive in his shots today. A number of them. His first bucket was a catch-and-shoot triple. With 6 seconds to go in the first half, it was a catch-and-shoot triple from Zakai Zeigler. So he has great poise because it was tight coverage tonight. They were really trying to swarm him today, but he just rose to the occasion and had a great game.
And we heard Coach Barnes talk about how Lanier throughout the game worked constantly to get the ball in the shooting position, and he did that. And if you give him a little bit of an opening, he's a terrific shooter. And so he made some key shots for Tennessee. He really helped Tennessee kind of hang around. You mentioned that 3 toward the end of the half. Vanderbilt led by 16 points in the first half of this game. And I'm sitting there thinking, and Tennessee did not shoot poorly. If you look at their numbers, they were at 43% on field goals. That's not bad. Their field goal percentage on threes was like 4 out of 10. That's not bad. No. And yet they were down by as much as 16 in that first half. So just a really good comeback for Tennessee. And we also heard Coach Barnes say that the mindset was so much different in the second half. What did he call that first half? What was that word?
Probably ugly. What word did
terrible.
you hear? Terrible. Let me see. Did I write that down? Yes. Terrible in the first half.
Yes.
So that's exactly what it was. And a little bit of part of that conversation with Lanier that he had, he said, it's time to go. There's only a handful of games left. And you saw he really took that to heart. But it was terrible in the first half, and what he heard on the bench was a player saying, we've been over this, we've been over this, why are we making these mistakes? Flip to the second half, you didn't hear any of that. At least that's what Rick Barnes says, and a lot of that had to do with rebounding. Tennessee had momentum-changing plays on offense in the second half, but they could not find a way to stop Vanderbilt. They did so in their rebounding effort, which you had one of those stats at the beginning.
Yeah, and here's the thing with Vanderbilt. If they missed a shot in the first half, they followed it up with a basket.
Yeah.
So that was big. And I'll tell you another big thing, too, was when Jalen Carey, who scored 18 points, he was the best inside scorer for Vanderbilt. He fouled out with about 4 minutes left. And after that, Vanderbilt didn't have any inside scoring. Now, the Edwards kids was knocking down some threes. He ended up with 24. But I thought when Carey fouled out with a little over 4 minutes left, that was big for Tennessee.
And I also thought what was important about those second chance points, while it was only 7 in the first half, Tennessee had none. And then by the 12:30 mark in the second half, they about matched their total rebounding that they had in the first half. So they absolutely switched it on, limiting those second chance points. So what they were doing on offense actually covered some ground and made up some ground. And a lot of that came from Felix Akpara and what he was able to do either in area or out of area, but he really came alive in the rebounding aspect. I think 17 of Tennessee's total 20 rebounds were all defensive. 17 of 20.
Yeah, it was a lot. And Akpara ended up, I think, with 6 rebounds. He also had 6 points. But in a game like this, when you're trailing like that, it's almost like every basket you need to continue the momentum. Because there was a time when you never got any of the momentum in the first half where you're wondering, when's it going to kick in? And I guess it was finally Lanier that had a basket with about 9 minutes left that gave Tennessee its first lead of the game. Because Vanderbilt ended up scoring. They scored the first 6 points of the contest.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So when Rick Barnes says it's time to go, hopefully this game is the one that helps them flip the page and continue and string together some more successful games ending in wins, as they're off for a little while before they take on Alabama on March 4th. But we'll be back for Lady Vols content on Sunday, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out.